Alright guys, I know you guys have been wondering, where the hell are the dweebs? What's happened to them? Why haven't they been posting videos? What's up with the 86 build? What's up with the Civic build? What's up with all that? Well, I'm going to explain that right now. It's been a crazy year in 2021 for us already. Basically, we got the option to buy the house that we were living in. Because we didn't work in 2020, it didn't work out. We had to just freaking pack up all of our stuff and move just on the fly, didn't know where to go. We ended up figuring that out, but my computer's been packed up this entire time. So I haven't been able to edit any videos or anything like that. I got my computer set up at the new place. Basically, I went to go through the videos to start posting the episodes from where we left off, and I'm missing a shit ton of footage. I'm missing basically a bunch of footage. So, that's pretty unfortunate. And I'm going to have to just basically slice together a bunch of the footage and just kind of show you guys what we have so far to this point. Right now, I have COVID, and so does Casey. So we haven't been out to the shop in like 12 days. We're just trying to quarantine and make sure that, we're not going to get anybody else sick. But, COVID hits us again with some bullshit. All right, guys, I'm going to go through the video footage that I do have. My apologies, it's probably going to jump around a little bit, but you guys will get the gist of everything that's been done for the most part. Right after I show you the videos, we're going to do a walk around of the whole car, and I'll show you everything that's been done to it and kind of explain what I did, just to kind of get you guys up to speed with everything that's been going on. So let's do it. All right, I have everything set up here to do some wiring, and I basically wired one of the plugs on already, extended it from the other harness. These are the plugs that I took off the other harness. The SR5 harness seems to have more wires on it than the GTS one. However, I don't feel like the wires that are going to the from the SR5 harness are going to be of anything of importance that I need. They probably went to stuff like the smog and cruise control and whatever that I'm not using. So basically I'm gonna, as long as the colors of wires on these plugs correspond with these plugs, any extra wires I'm just gonna cut off because I'm sure that I don't need them anyways. But so basically what I'm doing is I'm taping the plugs right here. I already ran them into the car to make sure they're the proper length. Tape them together, and then here is the other plug. So this is the matching plug to this one. So I'm going to lop this plug off, and I'm going to take these wires and I'm going to solder them on here, and that will essentially or effectively extend this plug all the way to there. And then I'm just going to do it with the next one plug. I guess I got one more plug to go, and then this side will be done, and then we'll move on to the alternator side. Little update, I have all the plugs except for one plug on there. I have all the wires stripped, and I have started soldering them together. I have all of the heat shrink up here on the back of the wires, so when I'm done soldering them, I can just slip them down and then I can heat shrink them. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm dealing with. This is a lot of wires for this last plug, but once that's done, all we have to do is move over to the alternator wiring, and then we should be done with this front harness, which is really exciting. Fingers crossed. I hope it works. If it doesn't, I guess we'll have to split it open and figure out what's going on. But I'm pretty confident that everything will work on the car when I'm done. So next time you see this, it will be wrapped up and put into the car. So check this out. All right, there it is. It looks great. I cut a little relief here so I can get a little bit more slack on it and tuck it up closer to the body of the car. But basically what it's going to do is I'm going to get some self-tappers and some cable ties, and I'm going to screw it up against the bottom of this all the way through, and then it will go through this hole. I'm going to have to get a grommet, but yeah, that's it. It's the tuck harness right here. It's long enough, it's sealed up, so yeah, now I just got to go over to the other side. All right, guys, I got the alternator wiring done, and it tucks all the way up underneath it here, and you can see it comes out here, it goes around this way. The horn I still need to connect, but it goes down under there, and then it pops out right there, and then goes up to my alternator. So that's all done, and it looks pretty tucked. And basically what I did to tie the harness up in here, I couldn't use like the wiring loom clamps that like self tap into the body, obviously, because it would go through into my bay, and here there's just not enough surface area. So what I did is I drilled holes on this seam all the way down, treated it so it doesn't rust, and then I just zip tied the harness up underneath of there all the way down, and then it goes in right here. I got to get a grommet, but yeah, this should be fine, and I shouldn't hit it for any reason at all. So what I'm going to do is throw my fender back on, and then we're going to start working on this stuff. All right, quick little rundown since the last time you guys seen this. I got a timing belt on here. That's all good to go. I have the clutch line ran into the car across the inside of the firewall, and it's popping down in the tunnel. And I also have the slave cylinder installed. The transmission is on, the drive shaft is connected, everything about that is connected. So that's a big deal. That's like one of the biggest things I was worried about, was getting the transmission in there. And now that that's in there, the rest is just little things. So right now what I'm going to be doing is working on the battery. So on the agenda today, at least for the battery, I have to extend these wires because I didn't like how tight they were being pulled to reach the positive terminal. So I'm going to extend these, put some new circle connectors on it. Then I need to send this big wire from the positive post on the battery to the starter somehow and keep it tucked and tidy at the same time. All right, I got all these wires extended. I just have them temporarily put here, but I'm going to put the fusible link box back on it. This is just, I put it here for length purposes. So now that that's done, I have to route this big wire all the way to the starter, but the starter has a bunch of degreaser on it, and I'm letting it soak because it's super greasy and I want to clean it up. But in the meantime, I went and picked up these fans that just got delivered today in the mail. And these are dual 10-inch fans. I'm going to unbox them, and then I'm going to start installing these. I also have a Thermo Switch. Normally I have the ECU control the fans, but in this case I'm just going to have this probe that goes through the radiator control the fans, and there's an adjustable relay so I can change what temperature I want the fans to switch on at. And the cool thing about running something like this is that this is going to run after the car is shut off. So if like I'm driving really hard and I shut the car off, the fans will keep going until the probe reads a certain temperature, and that's really cool because that's going to help prevent heat soaking. All right, that was a huge pain in the ass, but here they are. They're installed. These little pull through zip tie things with springs, that's what holds them on. They look pretty good. I have the wires routed through here. They need to be cleaned up a little bit. And then over here, I have the relay and the fuses mounted down here. And I have this wire comes up and goes into this Thermo Switch. Now, I'm going to test these out for the first time. Basically, what you need to do if you want to test these out without getting your car up to temperature, you can just you should be able to unplug this Thermo Switch here and then hit it to the positive, and then if all your wiring is right, the fan should turn on. So let's hope that they do. All right. Cool. Looks like they work. So it should work when the radiator gets up to temperature. So yeah, that's crossed off the list. Now let's move on to getting this clutch line done. So this is currently what the car looks like right now. I have basically, let's just start with the setbacks, okay? So the first setback is I got the transmission in there. I got the bell housing swapped, the transmission in there. I go to put oil in the transmission, and it just starts pouring out of the case, transmission or gear oil, out of the case where the transmission splits all the way down the middle. So I had to pull the whole transmission back out, split the transmission open, reseal everything, then to realize that the transmission internally had some issues that I really didn't want to gamble with. So my buddy Danny, his channel is Danzig, check him out. Him and Mandy came through and sold me a T50 transmission for deals. So they brought it over here, swapped the new bell housing on it, slapped it in there. I still haven't put oil in there, but I'm really hoping that it doesn't leak. Then I got all the coolant system done, and then I went to put coolant in the engine, and this happened. Coolant just started dumping from the back of this water pump housing right here, just pouring out everywhere. So I had to take the whole timing off and everything off the front of the motor, take the water pump off, and then I found out that I forgot to put the O-ring on the engine block side of the water pump. So that was my bad, but I had to redo all of that. So those are two major setbacks that I had to deal with in getting this all together. So right now I have the engine in, the mounts are on, the exhaust is on, the drive shaft is on, the transmission's in there. The wiring harness, I took a 2-inch hole saw and drilled a hole down here, and this is where the wiring harness goes through. It's pretty hidden, it's nice and tucked. So like right now what I'm doing is I'm routing the wiring harness over the engine, plugging in all the sensors and trying to route it in a way that looks clean, even though it's not a tuck harness. Then I have to go in here and I have to finish putting my dash in. I have some of the dash in so far, but I still have a lot more to go. The heater core is in there, but pretty much everything else is not in there. So I have to finish up the dash and all this other stuff. I got a list right here of all the stuff that I need to do. Some stuff that I need to do isn't on the list. Here's some of the stuff I got done over the past couple days. But basically this is what I need to get done today, tomorrow, the next day. And then this Sunday is old school reunion. So we're cutting it really freaking close, guys. And I'm going to try my hardest to get this thing going by then. But it's going to be like one of those things where I'm going to get it running and I'm not even going to have time to properly shake the car down. So like it's anyone's guess if it's going to break down or, you know, what's going to leak, what's not going to leak. I don't know. Like it's pretty down to the wire on this build. So we're going to try to do as much as we can and try to do it as best as we can. But if we don't make it, we don't make it. But I'm going to try my hardest to get this done by Sunday so we can make it. All right, guys, as you can see, I'm sitting inside of my 8.6. I've been driving it for the past month and a half. It runs, it drives. I've been shaking it down, working on issues, tuning, and just doing all the shakedown stuff you normally have to do on a freshly swapped car. But this is what the interior kind of looks like right now. It's pretty dirty. And then we're going to fire it up just so you guys can hear it run for the first time. There it is. It's idling. It's, yeah, it runs good. I mean, so yeah, I mean, it runs real nice, and we'll show you the engine bay. All right, guys, here it is. It's sitting outside of the shop. It was in the shop for about 2.5 years. My apologies. It's pretty dirty. I haven't washed it in about a week, and the engine bay is also pretty dirty, but this is what the engine bay looks like right now. Finished product. There's some little tinkering I need to do, like I want to tuck the throttle cable and whatnot, but the engine bay is done. This is what it looks like completed. Been driving it around everywhere for the past month and a half, tuning it and just doing all that stuff. I've been learning a ton about tuning cars, which has been really, really cool and a really, really fun experience. Super excited to be able to apply that knowledge to Casey's car. But here it is. I mean, it turned out really good. The engine looks good in there. Everything looks good. I got this clear cover. Everything's tucked. Everything's nice. I got the battery. All that stuff is in there. Everything works. I got these really cool hood struts. That's probably one of my favorite things. Is like basically the hood just stays up by itself, which is really cool. I still need to wire my windshield wipers. I need to do that quick since fall is coming up and I'm gonna end up in a bad situation if I don't wire those up pretty soon. So I gotta wire those up. But everything else on the car works. So something we weren't able to really touch base in the videos since I lost a bunch of footage was the brake line tuck. The brake line tuck was actually very, very easy. I basically sent these lines, this brake line, into the interior, and then I used a bunch of the stock lines that were on this side of the firewall and just literally put them on the other side of the firewall. A little bit of bending and persuading the lines basically got them all lined up under there, and it all fits really, really good. All right, I took this cover off so I can kind of show you guys what I did with the brake lines. After it leaves the master cylinder, it comes down into here, splits into these two lines that go into the stock proportioning valve. And then these stock lines go out, hugging the firewall, and go out to the this one goes through that hole right there, straight to the brake caliper on the driver's side. And then the other one goes all the way to the other side, does the same thing. And then the rear one comes around under the carpet and goes into this proportioning valve, this adjustable proportioning valve that I can adjust on the fly. So yeah, I mean, it's all plumbed up and it works really nice. And then once the carpet's up over this and the cover's on, you can't even see it at all. And the brakes, for being manual brakes, work really well. And I'm actually really impressed with how they turned out. So that's how the brake lines are all run. It was pretty easy. I was gonna do my own brake lines, but I just thought, you know, maybe I'll test and see like how close the stock lines are, because I had a bunch of stock lines from another 86 that were in really good condition. I was like, maybe I'll test and see what those look like on the firewall to see if I can save some time. And it just happened that they worked really, really, really well for just being on the other side. So that saved me a ton of time, and it's all stock, so I can depend on that stock reliability. Here's a video of the car running from the outside. It's kind of cold. It's very cold-blooded now that it doesn't have the idle air control valve. It runs kind of rich at cold starts, but then once it warms up, the idle picks up and it smooths out like a lot. But this is what it looks like. It's running. Sounds great, runs great. I'll probably do some driving videos at some point showing you guys how it runs, do some drive-by or fly-by videos showing you how it sounds. But yeah, all in all, it runs great. Everything turned out really good on it, and I'm really, really satisfied with the whole swap and the tuck and everything. It actually worked out really well. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. That is a wrap. Thank you to everybody who has stuck with us through all these crazy times. Hopefully they're gonna start mellowing out soon so we can actually start getting some more consistency back with our build. Thanks to everybody who has stuck with me on the 86 build and have been watching all the videos and stuff like that. There are plenty more videos to come with the 86. I have a ton of plans with this car, and it is far from being where I actually want it to be, which is good because I really, really enjoy doing all the stuff that I do on the 86. It's basically one of my favorite outlets. So with that being said, the next video, you could probably look forward to me doing just a bunch of driving videos. I might throw in a driving video right here. That's just one I had randomly in my camera roll that Jam took. But I'll do a lot more in-depth, comprehensive driving videos and just let you guys know how the car runs, how it sounds. Probably a POV video of me just driving on a mountain road. And yeah, we're gonna get to the other builds, and it's gonna be a freaking great time. So stick around, and thank you guys again for watching. Peace.